We're going to be on page 13. And it's note completing the square, and you're going to divide it into 6 boxes. Are you ready, Freddy? Today should be fairly easy. It's only 3 steps to follow, guys.
I know,
Huh?
once you divide the thing and multiply by itself until 2 is times that by itself.
We'll see.
Yeah.
See what he says. Alright, in box 1, our steps to complete ax squared plus bx plus blank. AKA, we're finding our c. We're finding a c that will make it a perfect square trinomial. So, step 1 is we divide by our a. So we have a parentheses x squared plus b. And that's going to give us our new b. If a is 1, our new b and our old b are going to be the same. Does that make sense? I'm divided by 1. Then we're going to find, step 2 is to find our c. And c equals b divided by 2 squared. And we're going to write as perfect square trinomial. Few more seconds. Are we good? Good? Alright, so in box 2 we're going to do our first example, which is x squared plus 8x plus blank. We're going to find what that blank is. Alright, so step 1 is we identify what our a is. So step 1, and our a equals 1. Is there really any purpose for me to divide by 1? No, so we're just going to be working with this, right? So this is going to be our b dot. Cool?
So 8 equals b?
Huh?
So b equals 8?
Yes. So then we're going to find our c, and c equals b divided by 2 squared. And our b is 8 divided by 2 squared. That gives us 4 squared, which equals 16. So our magical number that fills in our square is 16.
So can you kind of do this in your head?
Yes.
Potentially. But I can't teach it in my head, so hence I gotta write it out. Alright, so I can write this as a squared binomial, which is x plus 4 squared. And all I did was use method number. That says method, go with it.
That's why.
Method number 6, right? How do we feel? Are we feeling it? Pretty good box there today.
So like on the practice, do we solve the trinomial too, or do we just fill it in?
I would like for you to practice writing it as a binomial, because we'll need to be able to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Alright, here's yours to try. Alright, so again, here our A was what? 1, so I really don't have to do much with the A. All I have to do is B. So my B is negative 15, or 14. I know what half of my numbers. So C equals negative 14 over 2 squared, which equals negative 7 squared, which equals positive 49. So my completed is x squared minus 14x plus 49, and its binomial would be what? Perfect, x minus 7 squared. Feeling good? Okay, does the process change if a fraction is part of it? No, it does not. So we're going to do a fraction example just to make sure we're comfortable with it. You'll survive. So here's our fraction, x squared minus 1/2 x plus blank. So again, for 1, a equals 1, we're good. So for b, it's going to be negative 1/2, agreed? So c equals negative 1/2 divided by 2 squared. So when you have a fraction, does anyone remember what you do when you're dividing a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal, right, of your divisor. A little shortcut that teachers probably said is keep, change, flip. So you keep the numerator, which is negative 1 over 2. You change from division to multiplication, and you're going to flip your denominator. So instead of 2 over 1, it becomes 1 over 2. And that's going to equal negative 1 over 4 squared. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 over 4 squared is 1/6. What are your questions about dividing with a fraction? Good? So, just like before, our trinomial is x squared minus 1/2 x plus 1/16. And the binomial would be what? X minus 1/4. All right. Now, we've done 3 examples when a equals 1. So now we're going to do 2 examples when a does not equal 1. Got it? So here's our first example when a does not equal 1. We have 4x squared minus 12x. So step 1 is identifying your a and dividing by it. Our a here is 4. The biggest mistake that students make is that they assume that a is the GCF. That is not always the case. Okay? And it's not the GCF because are we taking out x's? No, we're not. We're just dividing by our a. And a is a number, a coefficient. So I'm going to divide everything by 4. And that's going to leave me with 4 times x squared minus 3x plus blank. How do we feel about step 1? And now we'll just keep going. So here's my new b. So c equals 3 divided by 2 squared. And remember with exponents, you're going to distribute to the numerator and to the denominator. So what is 3 squared? 9. And what is 2 squared? 4. So your new c is 9/4. And we leave it as 9/4. So then we come down here, and we're gonna write our trinomial. So we have 4 x squared minus 3x plus 9/4. And as a binomial, we have 4 x minus 3/2 squared. Now, if the problem asks for your original C, that's what we would have to distribute. So if we're asking for our original C, are we all comfortable with distributing?
Mm-hmm.
So that puts us back at 4x squared, right? That puts us back at negative 12x. And what would our original C be?
9/4.
What's 4 times 9?
36 over 4,
Which is?
8 and 9.
And what would its binomial be?
2x minus 3
Good job.
squared.
Alright. There you go. For your practice, I am fine if you stop here. But you need to be comfortable getting here. Does that make sense? Your boxes aren't very big, so I'm not gonna ask you about. How do you feel? Alright, or anyone, our last one's gonna be a little bit interesting because we're gonna have a fraction in it. Well, another fraction. Alright. So here are A equals 25. So I'm going to divide everything by 25. That gives me 25 on the outside. And I have x squared plus, what is 10 over 25 reduced to?
2 over 5.
2 over 5. So here's my new b. So c equals 2/5 divided by 2 squared. And again, how do we deal with fractions being divided? Keep changing, flip. We're keeping 2 over 5, changing to multiplication, and flipping 2 to 1/2. When you have a number in the numerator and the denominator, they factor out. Do y'all remember that? Yes? No, Lisa? And I'm left with 1/5 squared. The reason why I left 1/5 is because that's all that's left in the numerator, and that is all that's left in the denominator. And what is 1/5 squared? One what? 1/25. I'm going to say that y'all are answering me, but you're answering me in your head. Yeah? That's what I'm going to tell myself. So 3, my trinomial is 25. And we have x squared plus 2/5 x plus 1/25. And its binomial would be yes, but I forgot 125. Kidding. Let's put in my little 25 there. You know, I don't feel bad when I make little mistakes, because after watching Dr. Khan's Academy videos, you know, he makes mistakes too. We're all human. square in there. And if I need to go back to the original, what would I need to do? Distribute. You get a 25. You get a 25. You get a 25. So our original would be 25 x squared plus 10x plus 1. And how would I factor that? What would its binomial be? Look at my first term, and what's my first term? And what's the square root of 25x squared? 5x. Look at my c term, and what's the square root of 1? 1. And that would be my original. And there we go.